Shri Gurupyo Namaha. Hello students, I welcome you all to the next English grammar session. In today's video, we are going to discuss about nouns, pronouns, articles and adjectives. So now getting started. English is a very flexible language. A word's meaning is derived not only from how it is spelled and pronounced, but also from how it is used in a sentence. As you review the parts of speech, remember that the way a word is used in a sentence determines which part of speech it is. So we have already discussed in the previous video about the parts of speech. Hope that you remember. So let us see an example here. I ate a fish for dinner. Here you can just see the placement of that word. So here it is in noun form. In the next sentence it is in verb form. We fish in the lake on every Tuesday. So the usage of word in a sentence makes the difference in the meaning. So we have already learnt about this. So there are 8 parts of speech in English language. They are noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction and interjection. The part of speech indicates how the word functions in meaning as well as grammatically within the sentence. So we saw an example before. So you can just see the meaning of the sentence differs when a word is changed. Based on the placement of words, the meaning of the sentence changes. So now in this part, we are going to discuss in detail the nouns and its types. This part of speech, that is noun, refers to words that are used to name persons, things, animals, places, ideas or events. So out of all, that is the 8 parts of speech, nouns are the simplest one. So now we are going to know about the types of nouns. As we know that there are 8 types of nouns, we'll just have a look at that 8 types of nouns now. Concrete nouns, abstract nouns, countable and uncountable nouns, collective nouns, compound nouns, possessive nouns, regular plural nouns and irregular plural nouns. So these are the types of nouns. Now under this types, so in today's session we are going to learn in detail about abstract nouns. What is an abstract noun? An abstract noun is a noun that is not physical. It describes something that might or might not be real, but either way cannot be touched or seen. Things that come out of the abstract noun may be touched and seen, but the abstract noun itself cannot. So in simple words, an abstract noun is a word which names something that you cannot see, hear, touch, smell or taste. So here you are going to just learn about the usage of abstract nouns. You should know how to identify the abstract nouns. So through this you will understand about the identification and the usage of abstract nouns. So let me just give you some example, some abstract noun sentences. We have to get at the truth of the matter. Mary isn't the type of person who gossips. People lost faith in banks. She will defeat them. I was delighted at the news of her success. They laughed at my idea. Alex had a fear that he would fall down. She tried to restrain her anger. Don't underestimate your own strength. Samuel has a good side and an evil side. So you can just see the words in bold letters. So these are some of the sentences formed using abstract noun. So here one more example. There are 2 nouns in this sentence. You can just see, read the sentence and find out. It's greed often leads to unhappiness. Here you have 2 nouns. So what are they? Greed and unhappiness. So these 2 nouns are called as abstract nouns. So why it is called abstract? Because you cannot see, touch, hear or smell them. So both these nouns are abstract. So you are going to identify the abstract nouns in this list. So 4 words are given. So you have to pick out the abstract noun. So students, just take your notebook, pick out the abstract noun and write down in your notebook. So let us check the answer in the next part. So here is the answer. Fear, greed and anger are abstract nouns. House is not an abstract noun. You can easily identify from the words given, isn't it? Okay. The same way. So one more example. Change the words on the left into abstract nouns. So you are going to do this, children. Just using the words given, you'll have to change this into a abstract noun. So how will you do it? Yes. So you try. You can check the answer in the next part. You have got the answer here. It's delivery, embarrassment, intelligence, beauty, courage, victory, activity, conclusion, imagination. So adding Y with deliver becomes delivery. Same way, you have converted these words into an abstract. Hope you understood this. Underline, circle or highlight the abstract nouns in the following sentences. So few sentences are given. You'll have to find out and underline the abstract nouns. So I've given so many examples to make you understand the identification and to know about the usage of abstract noun. Now you just do this exercise and we'll find out the answers. Yes. So now children, check the answers. So first question, it is happiness. Second one, it is success. Third one, it is idea. Fourth one is hope. And fifth one is courage. So with this, we conclude the explanation about the abstract nouns. Now we are going to learn about the noun cases. So what do you mean by noun cases? So it actually defines the role of the noun in a sentence. So what is the role of a noun in a sentence? So it refers to that, whether it is a subject or object or shows possession. So for example, you can just see the placement of noun, and so the difference that you can find out in the placement. In the first sentence, the musician is especially tall. So here it plays a role as subject. The musician is especially tall. So in the next sentence, the manager chose the musician. So you can see here the same word plays a role as an object. And in the third sentence, the musician's skill is famous. So here it becomes possessive. So you can find the difference between the three types actually. One is subject, one is object and possessive. So the same word musician, when it is placed in the subject part, it gives a different meaning. When it is placed in the object, there is a difference in the meaning of the sentence. And the same way, when it becomes possessive in a sentence, it gives a different meaning. So you can easily identify the difference of the placement of a noun, whether it plays a role of subject, object or possessive. So with this I conclude the explanation of the noun cases. Now we are going to learn about pronoun. What is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word used in a place of a noun or another pronoun. Pronouns help you avoid unnecessary repetition in your writing and speech. A pronoun gets its meaning from the noun it stands for. The noun is called the antecedent. So although Seattle is damp, it is my favorite city. So we'll just study what is an antecedent. Before that, there are different kinds of pronouns. Most of them have antecedents, but a few do not. So a definition of pronoun is given. Let's look into that. Pronoun is the sentence element used to replace a noun or a noun equivalent construction. The replaced noun is named the antecedent. So hope that you understood what is an antecedent. You can just see an example here. Hedgehogs. Why can't they just share the hedge? This hedgehog is replaced with a pronoun they. So they becomes pronoun here, and they refers to what? Hedgehog. Now hedgehog is the antecedent of they. So hope you understood the meaning of antecedent. The next part we are going to learn about the 8 categories of pronouns. The categories of pronouns are personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, reflexive and emphatic pronouns, interrogative pronouns, relative pronouns, reciprocal pronouns, and indefinite pronouns. These are the 8 categories of pronouns, and in today's video we are going to learn about the relative pronouns. What are relative pronouns? A relative pronoun is a pronoun that introduces a relative clause. It is called a relative pronoun because it relates to the word that it modifies. So why it is called as a relative pronoun? Because it is somewhere related to the word that it modifies or changes. Okay, so there are 5 relative pronouns. They are who, whom, whose, which, that. So who refers to subject and whom refers to object. So these are generally used only for people. Who and whom are used for people. Whose is for possession and which is for things. That can be used for people and things and as subject and object in defining relative clauses. Here you will know about the usage of relative pronouns. So relative pronouns can refer to singular or plural, and there is no difference between male and female. So let me just give an example. The person who phoned me last night is my teacher. The car which hit me was yellow. So you can just see the difference in the meaning. The person whom I phoned last night is my teacher. The car whose driver jumped out just before the accident was completely destroyed. So the usage of who and whom here refers to the subject, but still there is a difference in the meaning. The same way you can find which and whose. So which hit me was yellow. The car which hit me was yellow. The car whose driver jumped out before the accident was completely destroyed. From this you can find out these who, whom, whose and which, everything, it is related to the subject or object. So relative pronouns take place of nouns or pronouns. They are called relative pronouns because they always relate back to something or someone else. So always it refers to something or someone. So they are used to join 2 sentences about the same person or thing. So usage of this is going to relate the same person or the same thing that you're going to talk about in a sentence. So here, as I told you, who, whose, whom, which and that, you can just see the usage here and the example. Who, it replaces the subject pronouns I, she, he, we and they. So this is the man who broke the window. So it is relating to the person. Whose show possession or relationship. So she knew the family whose house we bought. So it refers to the person. Again, whose refers to the pronoun she, and whom, in this they have found the lady whom they want to interview. So replace the object pronouns me, her, him, us and them. So these are some of the examples, and which and that. The my precious blue lamp which was in the room was broken. Again, which refers to a thing, refers to the blue lamp. The lamp that was in the room was broken. So let us look into this topic in detail. A relative pronoun introduces a clause. The rider who won the race needed a shower. The pronoun relates the clause back to a noun group or class. Which rider needed a shower? The rider who won the race. So who won the race refers to the subject rider, the noun. Okay, same way. A pronoun stands in place of a noun. A relative pronoun introduces a clause and relates it back to a noun group or clause. So usually we use who, whom and whose to refer people. Whose may also refer to things and animals. We use which to refer to an animal or thing, and we use that to refer to people, animals or things. So use that if the clause that the pronoun introduces is essential to the meaning of sentence. Use which if the clause that the pronoun introduces could be deleted without affecting the meaning of the sentence. In the following sentence, the relative pronoun is red. The kangaroo that escaped from the zoo has been found. So you can just see. So here that refers to again the kangaroo. When do you use that? When do you use which? So there is a difference. So when we use that, we'll see. Use that if the clause that the pronoun introduces is essential to the meaning of the sentence. So where we use that if the clause that the pronoun introduces is essential to the meaning of the sentence. So when it is needed, when it is essential to get the meaning of a sentence, we use that. Where are the shoes that you need for tomorrow's game? You can see not just any shoes. So he is not referring to any shoes. The shoes needed for the game. So not just any shoe, it refers the shoes needed for the game. So in this case, it is essential to use that. So usage of which. Use which if the clause that the pronoun introduces could be deleted without affecting the meaning of the sentence. If you use which, put a comma before it. In the same way, which is used in a clause that the pronoun introduces could be deleted without affecting the meaning. So even if you remove which, it gives a meaning. So you can use it or you can delete it. If you say your tennis shoes are under the bed, it gives a meaning. It is under the bed. Your tennis shoes which need cleaning are under the bed. So again, which refers to the shoes that has to be cleaned. So if you're going to mention that, you can use it. If you don't want to mention it, you can delete it. Shoes need cleaning, but the sentence makes sense without that information. So whether you include that clause or not, it gives meaning. It doesn't affect the meaning of a sentence. That is the difference between the usage of that and which. Hope you understood, children. So which refers to an animal or thing, that refers to people, animal or things. So here are some examples. The swarm of bees which appeared when Yogi shook the hive chased us away. You catch the bus that leaves at 5 p.m. If you're going to remove that here, will it give any meaning? You catch the bus leaves at 5 p.m. No. So we need to place that to get a complete meaning. Where are the rescuers that Mr. French said would come? Your dinner, which I must say looks delicious, is getting cold. Same way, you can easily complete the sentence as your dinner is getting cold. But if you just want to add some more information about that particular dinner, the subject, you can use which. So which, I must say, looks delicious. So you're adding an additional information about the particular subject or noun. Is it clear, students? Use who, whom and whose to refer to people. So whose may also refer to things and animals. The women who gave a speech. So here you can see who refers to the subject of the clause. So what is the subject here? Women. John lent his camera to a friend whom he trusted. So again, whom here refers to an object in a sentence. So John is a subject who lent his camera to a friend. So friend is a object here, whom he trusted. So whom refers to the object, the friend. The author whose book we formed. We use whose to show the possession. To whom? To the person it belongs to. So it belongs to, or the author whose book we performed. It was the possession to whom it belongs to actually. So by the author. The company whose employees were very keen. It also again shows the possession. The company, by the company. So here in both the sentences, whose refers or shows the possession. So now we are going to move to the next part of our grammar, articles. So articles, so if I say articles, immediately you will say a, an and the. So these three are called articles. So a and an are called indefinite articles. The is called definite article. So the usage of a, an and they, you know the rules, but still let me just explain you. The is used to refer to specific or particular nouns. So keep it in mind. The is used to refer to specific or particular nouns. A and an is used to modify non-specific or non-particular nouns. So let us learn this in detail with some examples. So we use a and the before the nouns that we want to introduce. Nouns are names of people, places, animals or things. If we say a person, a place, a thing, so A is used. A is used before beginning with a consonant sound. So you can just see a boy, a bird. So all this starts with a consonant sound. So always we use a with a word starting with a consonant sound before a singular noun beginning. So you can just see these rules. So we use a before a consonant sound and always before a singular noun. Book, school, dog. A book, a school, a dog. Even before vowel letters which don't have vowel sound. So that is very important. We also use this before a word with a vowel sound, but thing is it will not sound like a vowel. Though you have E here, we pronounce it as European. A European. So with this, we have come to the end of this session, children. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day, children.